The JOAN Bullock Memorial, the feature of the night. They're set for a start. 1980 metres the journey, and the light goes on. Arms are back. MRG to the inside came away well from Ruth Shannon. Out wide of it, rock and rolled Annie. Out wider still as Artistic Union, and they're followed then by Kelly Claire Jasper. Began well off the second line. Then Shadow King. Further back then is Marjoy or Curly Claire Jasper's got into a gallop. They're followed well back in the race by My Change of Heart, and Western Safari is at the tail. They're into the straight this time, and the lead time comes up 27.5, and MRG led the way. Showed out from in second spot the Rock and Roll Annie. In third spot Artistica and then going forward is Ruth Shannon. Over on the fence then My Change of Heart. Shadow King is next on the outside from Marjoy, followed then by Western Safari, and back at the tail of the field is Curly Claire Jasper. So they go to the back. MRG on top. Led the way. It's out by a little over a length. Rock and Roll Annie is second. Ruth Shannon goes out without a trail on the outside. Three back in the marker line, Artistica on the inside of Shadow King. Then Marjoy, My Change of Heart. They're followed then by Western Safari and Curly Claire Jasper. 32.6 was the first quarter as they work off the back and approach the 1,000-metre mark. MRG on top. 3 parts of length through Shannon on the outside. Behind the leader, Rock and Roll Annie. They're followed then around the outside is Shadow King in the 1-1 trail. 3 back in the marker line, Artistica on the inside of Marjoy. Followed further back by My Change of Heart, Western Safari, and about 10 lengths last of all is Curly Claire Jasper. 31.7 was the second quarter as they run past the judge for the bell. 64.3 the half, and MRG led the way. On the outside, Ruth Shannon is second. They were followed then on the fence by Rock and Roll Annie, then Shadow King. Artistic next from Marjoy, followed further back by My Change of Heart, then Western Safari, and a dozen lengths last of all is Curly Claire Jasper. Up the back they go, 4.50 to travel, and they approach the last quarter mark, and the quarter comes up in 30.2. MRG is still the leader from on the outside, Ruth Shannon. Shadow King coming into it. They're followed then by Rock and Roll Annie. Further back then Marjoy. They were followed then by My Change of Heart, Artistica and Western Safari. MRG the leader. Around the bend, Shadow King and Ruth Shannon out after it as they straighten up. They were followed further back by Rock and Roll Annie. It's MRG the leader. Rock and Roll Annie's got a run through on the inside. It's MRG in front, and MRG is one from Rock and Roll Annie. Shadow King ran third, then Ruth Shannon, Artistica Marjoy next in from My Change of Heart, Western Safari, and Curly Claire Jasper the last one in. MRG is the winner. Number 1, Ricky Gore.